But I think it's a conversation that's been ongoing, right? Up to this point, other sessions prior to now, same topic.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we could just go ahead and strap on the scuba gear, go a little deeper, maybe, or just carry it forward in some way. Um, when we talk about self-care, I think we kind of walk into these simple words with a general meaning, yeah. But let's ask ourselves, what do you mean by self, and what is the root of care? Okay, so a lot of times when we just are casually conversating, we're talking about the you and me that appear as individuals, right? But the challenge that a lot of us have is that um, we haven't really defined the domain of self that we're talking about when we're talking about it, right? People say, well, you got to learn to love yourself. You cannot not love yourself, okay? What we're doing is learning ways of expressing self-love because it's ubiquitous, love is. It's everywhere. It's all the time. It's in every moment of our existence. So you cannot not be outside of the sphere of love, okay? What we gain skill in and mastery of is our ability to apply the expressions of love to our life expression, right? So we often think of ourselves as our individual, walking around self. Sometimes that expands to our family and closest loved ones, you know? And then it goes out and out and out and out like that. Like some people love their nation, some people love the planet itself, right? But when we're in a conversation like this, what we want to do is ask ourselves, is my love bubble big enough? But most importantly, am I in it? You know, when I step back in my mind's heart and eye and look at the love bubble I've created around me, am I included? And how close to the center of that bubble am I? I don't believe that you have to be the exclusive center of your own love bubble. That might cause some psychological disturbances. But you got to be in there. So as we just take a moment, those of us who are on the call, and visualize and feel uh, the people and the images that we can put in our mind's eye of our love bubble and who's in it. And just check, are you in it? How close to the center? So that's private information, but just raise a finger when you've got that done, or nod or something, or peep. Come on, do some feedback here. Okay, good, thank you. Because if you found that you were not there or close to where you should be in that bubble, just allow yourself to migrate there naturally. Just allow yourself to migrate there naturally. And if you are there, just feel the centeredness of that place. Feel the centeredness of that place. And when we're centered in a place such as that, I'm asserting this now, the way we want to express love in our lives for ourselves and anybody else near that center will flow automatically, right? And if we find that we're not, we say, oh, well, look up, and I haven't taken a drink when I was thirsty, I haven't eaten when I was hungry, I've and on and on. If you've missed any of those fundamental signals, just bring yourself back to the center of this place in the middle of your love bubble, at the core of your love bubble. Or your torus, if you're into the dynamic biophysics where they're describing everything, the human aura as a torus, like a donut, and you're at that center, which would be very much equivalent to the center of uh, one of those storms that has a shape like a hurricane. The centers are always very quiet, right? So that's more of a scientifically accurate description of what I'm calling the love bubble, but you get the picture. When we're there and we feel our presence there, what we need to do to execute exquisite self-care will come automatically to your heart and mind. The rest is just discipline and following that. Even rabbits know what to eat, but we find ourselves asking each other, well, what should I eat? What should I drink? It's ridiculous. Worms know, rabbits know. We're trusting ourselves to know. Yes? Does that make sense? So that exercise is not very trivial, actually. I've seen people lose hundreds of pounds just by doing exercise and will answer any questions about nutrition because you can sense it. If you have a craving, check it. Is this an authentic craving? Is this coming from a genuine signal? What I'm calling a genuine signal. Very simple things block genuine signals. This stress release exercise sweeps a lot of stuff that blocks genuine signals away. And there's techniques for eliminating things which take us out of our ability to, in the moment, detect clear and present dangers to our physical safety. So we don't worry about, yeah, I'm so scared to be out here. You could just relax and trust that you've cleared all but genuine signals. So it doesn't matter whether we're talking about self-maintenance on the with the we eat and diet and all that kind of stuff, or out in the world, people we come into contact with, you know, doing trauma release work over the years, there was a trend that most of the people who are adults and experienced the trauma, they had a premonition, they had a knowing that wasn't really, the signals weren't all connecting for them, so they experienced those moments that sent them to me. But teaching from that point forward, hey, pay attention to that. The technique, what you want to do, what's going to be perfect for you for your self-care, and it's going to come to you through that very simple worldview of, I can trust this. Let me get in the center of my world, my love bubble, my actual bioenergetic presence on this world, but we can call it a love bubble, right? Get in the center of that. That stillness will hit you, and everything that you need to know. And it takes practice because anybody can get. I find myself outside my own love bubble often. You know, so it's a discipline of gently bringing ourselves back to it. Gently bringing ourselves back to it. Any questions, comments, suggestions?
This is Benita. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard you say you cannot not love yourself.
See.
I don't know what that means. I'm trying to work that in my
Oh,
head.
let me platform it because I was reflecting on the popular instruction that, oh, you've got to love yourself. And what I was sharing was that it's impossible to not love yourself. When it seems like there's an absence of love, what's often missing is the aptitude for or the engagement in expressing that love through care. That's the full statement. Does it make sense
I'm gonna
now?
dig a little deeper. No, I'm gonna
Okay,
dig a
go
little
ahead.
deeper. So if someone says to me, Benita, you don't love yourself, or you don't love yourself enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's what would make someone say that, like maybe I'm not taking care of my physical appearance, or I'm just always tired and letting people run over me, or I
Any of
think
the
it means,
above.
like how I'm wondering all of us on this call, how do we define
Uh-huh.
self-care? And if someone says that to us, you don't love yourself, what does that really mean? Is
Well,
it
that's
in the eye of the beholder?
uh-huh. Well, that's a excellent question. So when we're receiving input from the outside, people are going to come to you with their own ideas and worldview. Okay, so that the way it's phrased that way is because there's a belief that there could be an actual absence of love, and what people conflate is what people confuse and switch back and forth is the expressions of love are valuable and beautiful and powerful, but they are not love itself. Okay. So what I'm saying is if somebody's, so that's the first part. And then they might say, you don't look well. And name the things that they're saying you should, that appears though you've fallen down on or someone has fallen down taking care of. Okay. So you can separate those two because those people are who care about you enough to really make a list of what they're detecting that, hey, that doesn't look right. They're going to give you the list of what they mean. Okay. But just within ourselves, we know that, oh my goodness, I've stepped outside of my sphere of love and influence. I need to put myself back in it. And someone that cares about me has loved me enough, and expressed their love enough, I should say now, yeah, to share that with me, right? So just because, I call it this doesn't mean that, people aren't going to be. So it's like if you're an engineer and you're talking about stress to your engineer colleagues at work, it has a totally different meaning than talking about stress at the bar with your friends, right? So we're making some fine distinctions here, but not everybody that comes up to us is going to have these same distinctions. What I'm telling you is that love is everywhere, ubiquitous all the time. You cannot be outside of its presence. We can only think we're disconnected from it and express ourselves in ways that demonstrate an absence of connection in heart or mind. But in literal, living terms, you cannot be outside of it. So somebody may be asking you, hey, express love for yourself by caring for yourself better. That would be a precise way of saying it, right? Benita?
I have myself on mute. I'm
Okay.
understanding.
Okay, but does it make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
I just gotta think deeper about it.
Well, I want it to be easy. I mean, you can
Okay.
think, no, you're free to think deeper about it, but what I want to make sure is that the basic concept is simple because it's
The basic
something is
concept
basic.
is everybody automatically loves themselves because you cannot not do that.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I can see where the confusion comes in. Okay.
I was going to say I love the concept of the love bubble and being on various in various places in this bubble.
Hmm.
Um, where I feel you're driving us is to the center. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct.
Okay. And as I kind of responded that sometimes, I try to be in the center of this bubble, but sometimes things may push me more to the edge and other things take the center.
And
So
this is
I am truly denying maybe myself of some things that I need to
okay.
be whole. So
That may be. So let's make another distinction that isn't all the way made all the time. Okay, and I think it's going to address what you were expressing as well, Benita. Um, what I want us to begin to look at differently is how we are being, our way of being, our presence and stance in a particular moment, in a particular space and time, as distinct always from what we are doing, because we have a vibrational and what we call an internal condition, but it's not actually internal, is it? It's it's all through us and it radiates out in all directions from us to a certain degree of different people, but that's who we are being, okay? And that often gives rise to what we do, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes what we do is a direct result of other people's influence, right? There are lots of people that do. I didn't want to do that. I would never have done that. You see what I'm saying? So being in the center of your love bubble does not necessarily mean always putting yourself first in what you do. It can look like anything on the outside, but it will occur to you as a grounded stillness in the place you are. And it may not be for you to do for yourself in like you don't want might not want anything, you might be in a situation that is a literal emergency and actually have things that you could do for yourself but prioritize differently. Okay, so in Benita's question, we get down to love, experiencing the always present love in a way that cannot be defined in words, and then choosing or selecting actions um, is a totally different type of situation. Like, so what I'm connecting is that this always present formative force called love, which we experience through many, many modalities, one of which is self-care, right? When we're grounded in that, how we take care of ourselves will mostly always be spot on. So practicing going to that center is a discipline that gets better and better over time. Um, and then fewer people come up to us and say, you should be taking better care of yourself. You need to love yourself more. You need to be taking better care of yourself. That scenario that Benita presented, right? It's going to happen with less frequency because on most levels, because anybody can fall down on the job on one time or another, right? So there might be, you might not get enough sleep at one point or blah, blah, but you want measure the balance sheet, not necessarily from day to day, maybe over a month or week or whatever. It's like kind of like regular eating nutrition. If you just try and evaluate your nutrition just on one day's meals, it doesn't really work out very well. So you want to look at this experience as you train and going to that center and getting grounded in the center of your love bubble. Look at the results over weeks or months, because there's going to be days when maybe we're not really on the game and get back on, gently bring ourselves back.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Benita, did that distinction clear up your final question too, or did it make a new pathway into the inquiry?
I'm clear. I'm gonna try to stay in the center. I think I'm in the center.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to stay there, but it's not always easy. But there was someone in here says that I'm not in the middle, but right outside. Well, Keisha, would you like to talk?
I wish I'd seen that. Go ahead.
Yes, I said that because I feel like, and I don't know if this is just a mother thing, but I feel like my son is at the center.
Okay.
And maybe because he's a toddler, and he still very much so needs me, but I feel like he is the center of my world. Like that's what I do it for. Yes, I am very confident and I practice self-care. Um, but I feel like he is
That
at all times.
Okay.
I don't
See,
know.
that makes 100% sense based on what we were sharing. It's like, so what I'm hearing from you is you're saying that I feel uh, the way I feel, but my son is always the center of my world, right? How old is he again? A toddler age, you said?
Yes, he's 2.5.
He's 2.5. So if you weren't the center of your world, that could amount, though the little effects of him not being the center of your world could result in a felony launched against you. You see what I'm saying? You have to take care of your kids. You see what I'm saying? So you've got the perfect distinction of this is what I'm doing, and I'm expressing my love and care in this way, and my attention is centered on my son. And that's what I do. That's who I do for him. What I do for him is all designed to do what a mother is going to do. Perfect example. But in your selfdom, you're still at the center of your love, in the center of your love. So you don't have to be in there by yourself.
Okay.
You don't even have to be in there at the absolute, but I am also making that bioenergetic distinction clear from the doing one. Okay? Clean from the doing one. Because it's going to change. It's going to change. But
and I guess that's what I had a question. Like, should we always strive to be? Well, can we be the only one in the center? Really, is kind of what I'm thinking. So yes,
no, not
do. I
necessarily.
practice a lot of self care for myself, and definitely try to do what's best for me. And I understand as a mom that I still need that time away from him to be whole. To give him my all. But I still kind of feel like he is there and has to be there.
Gotcha. So let's pull the sheet all the way back. Let's pull the final curtain back. So this kind of grounded centeredness that I was talking about at the center of your love sphere, your love bubble, is the exact same one that the people who teach meditation, higher ends of the martial arts, peak performance work, talk about when you get into a meditative state. It is stillness. what I'm talking about when I say feel the groundedness of being in the center of your love bubble or being in the eye of your aura, like someone was standing in the center of the eye of a hurricane. If you've ever experienced that, it is not only the air is perfectly still, but everything is very quiet as well. So that experience has almost nothing to do with what you choose to do as your priorities and the expression of your three-dimensional life in the three-dimensional world. But they're happening simultaneously. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
All right. So the fact that you're aligned with who you are as a mother, the fact that you are empowered as a human being means that when you're centered, you take exquisite care of yourself and your son. There's no it perfectly fits. That makes sense. You know, if you weren't doing that, then that would be like, she believes that she's centered and grounded, but she's not taking good care of her son. That doesn't make any sense. That would be the odd thing. You get me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did that help? Did the pulling the curtain back help anybody get where I'm
I
coming
think
from?
that's good. I think that might be why someone had the squiggly marks and the smile, because a lot of times we think that sometimes we're in the center, but there's a storm going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be that it's very confusing. And I think to get that peace, that quietness, take that moment while we're in the center and just quiet down enough so that we can identify what we really need for
And
ourselves is important.
it is. And that's where that trust component we talked about earlier, to trust that when we do exactly what Ms. Mack says, that it will come to you, or we allow it to come to us, quiet down enough to allow it to come to us, and trust that that or something better will form up. And it works a lot of the time. It works a lot of the time.
Thank you. I appreciate your words of wisdom. And now I'm going to be thinking about bubbles a lot. So,
Who else? Anybody else that going to be thinking about bubbles? Rebecca,
yeah.
703-9963, and Bonita. Anybody else thinking about going to be thinking about bubbles this next couple of days? It's a
Thinking
good
about
practice. It's a good
where I
practice.
I
am.
know I will be.
I beg your pardon?
I said I know I will be thinking about both.
Cool.
Just
The love bubble. That's right.
The love bubble.
the pandemic and everything. I think it's kind of is important for all.
Well, I hope this was another good train car in this series of conversations about self-care, because I know a few have gone ahead of me, and so I just wanted to hook another set of cars to the train that are useful for you guys.
Thank you. Yes, it does. And I think, yes, we can definitely build on that and taking, looking at tools that we can use to help us stay centered, Rebecca, as we deal with juggle a lot of different things. But CHWs definitely pouring out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, even.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Even it's kind of, these things are like our babies, Lakeisha. So we have a lot of babies that we're trying to take care of sometimes.
Yeah.
And they don't sleep sometimes at night. So as soon as we get up, they're right there, needy. So thank you, Mr. Washington. We appreciate
You're welcome.
giving us that visual, because that is a good visual for us. Executive Director Bonita, do you have anything else you want to add in?
Just want to say thank you, Russell, and thank you everyone for joining us today as we continue to take care of each other.
Yes. All right, I'm going to give you guys, we went over a little bit, but I so appreciate it. Everyone hanging in there. I know a lot of
Everybody.
people on vacation today because I got a lot of returns. So
Okay.
we'll see each other in 2 weeks, and we will have another tool.
And thank you all.
Thanks.
Take
Y'all
care.
have a great day. Be a blessing as you always are. You're wonderful. Keep doing what you do, and don't forget, center of your love bubble.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.